Hello students and welcome to another edition of our user guide for service skills. I'm your host as always, Matthew Byer, and today we are going to go over Wondershare Filmora, which is another editing software used on PC computers that can be used by people who cannot afford or do not have Adobe Premiere Pro. It can be found on Google, and once you go on there, it can be purchased for its entirety for roughly $30. Okay, so now that I don't really need that. Now that I've got that out of the way, I'm just gonna show you how to do it then. Essentially, the first step you're gonna want to do is to simply open up Wondershare Filmora. So, just you have to wait a little bit here. Okay. Now once that's done, the next step then that you want to do is to open up the full feature mode. This will then basically open up the entire project for you so that you can see what can be done. And then once you do, it'll show up like this. From here, then what you're going to want to do is to import all the video or audio or pictures that you have. And for this example, we are looking for 6 pictures. So in order to enter all this data, we are going to want to first click on the import media files here, which is right here in the center of the screen with the blue arrow pointing down. Once you click on it, well, I already had it preset, but essentially what you would do is to go on to whatever you have your stuff, and then just highlight the stuff that you want, and then hit open. This will then import all the different stuff into your program so that you can use it. With the file selected though, we are obviously going to want to use an opener then for this project. So in order to add an opener, you're going to want to first go over to text and credits, and then select the opener area here. And then from here you can choose all the custom-made openers that are already available to you. For this instance though, we'll simply use opener 8. So just click the arrow in the center here and it'll add it to the program. So, but as you can see though, it doesn't have the text that we want. So for the next step then, we're going to want to edit the text that's already inside. So to do this, you're going to want to click on the text on the screen here, and then you can, from here, you can basically just edit it the way you want it. Since we do not need this one, we're going to delete it, and to do that, you just highlight the words here, hit delete, and that just creates an empty box, and then just click anywhere. And then as you can see, that box is now gone. And then from this one, we can just rename that, and we are going to rename it Funny Cat Pictures. Or photos, I mean. Oops. Alright. And then once you're done adding all that into there, all you have to do is just hit OK. With tile completed, we'll now want to add the files that we had put in before. So in order to add the files, we're first going to want to just make sure to move it to the very end here, because if we were to, like, say, have it here and then hit import, that'll put the file that we want at the very beginning, but obviously we want it at the end, so in this case we'll just move it to the end here. And then we'll just keep on doing the same thing until all these pictures here are added to the program. With the images inserted then, we can now move on to the next step, which is to add a credits roll slide to the end of the project. So what we're going to want to do here then is to, once again, go back into text and credit, only this time instead of opener, we're going to go to end credits. And for this instance though, we can just choose credits 2, which will basically add in a credit slide similar to the opener, but obviously you can pick from any single ones here, but as I said, we're going to stick with the second one. And similar to the other ones, we can edit what's in here the same as we did before. And we're going to go with Billy Bob for the name here. Delete those other letters here, we don't need them. Then once you have the text that you want inside the box, just simply hit OK. But one other thing that you may want to add occasionally is simply text box on the inside. For example, for pictures 3 and 4 here, you decide that you want to add something to it. So you could do this as well. And once again, you don't really have to go that very far from the text edit area either. With this menu still selected, go over into the titles tab here. And then from here you can add basically like little description or a quote or something, whatever you feel like it. But in this instance, we're just going to use this one here. And then we're going to, hang on. We're just going to hit it twice then. Oh, one thing to note too is that you can zoom in and zoom out by simply clicking right above the videos here and then just simply like dragging to the right in order to extend it, get a closer look, or to zoom out by moving it to the left. In this instance, we're just going to want to adjust the lines here. And then here we have our little text slides. And similar to the other ones, we can edit it the way we want it as well. For this first one though, we are going to want to change the text to liquid cats. But obviously we don't want it to be this big as well, so we can also adjust the size, and for this instance we will set it to size 44. And then just drag it down to the corner. And once that's done, just simply hit OK. And I'll show you the same thing again here on the next one over. For this instance, we'll use Gravity Cat Not Amused. And then just like before, switch it to size 44. And then hit OK once you're done. Now, if you were to go to the very beginning then of this project, you will notice that, well, you don't really hear anything. It's that since we use pictures, there's no audio that comes with it, so you decide that you want to add like a song or something to the project. Well, you could do just that. With the little menu button here, you could just simply go into music, and then there are a bunch of preset songs that are already put in here for you. For this instance, we are going to suggest the Always and Dreaming one right here. And essentially, from here then, we have our music file. But obviously this isn't the only way to do it too. Like, alternatively, you can also import music as well. So if you have an MP3 file anywhere that you want to import, you just go and find it the same way that you do with pictures and videos and just simply import it that way. One thing though that you may notice here is that obviously the music file is a lot longer than the video itself. So this is where our next step comes in. That's to basically cut down the various files and programs that we have in the video. So to do this, you're going to want to use the line here to basically select the spot that you want to cut the line. Then right-click the file you want to cut and hit split. This will then split the file into two separate different audio files that can be moved around, rearranged, and whatnot. However, since we just want this one right here, we could just simply click on this one and hit delete. And then once that's done, then you're going to want to just take this, hold down the left click button, and drag it back to the start of picture 1 here. And then similarly, you're going to want to just go to the end of the credit side here, and then do the same thing as well, hit split, and delete what's left after it. Apart from just adding the music itself, you can also edit the file that you put on here as well. To edit it, you just double click on the file, and then it brings you to this location here. You can increase the speed that the song plays as, its duration, the volume level, have it fade in or fade out, the pitch, and so on and so forth. For this instance though, we're going to want to set it to 30 seconds, and have it fade in at 5 seconds, as well as fade out at 5 seconds. And then of course, once you do that, you can just hit OK then. And then we could just hit the spacebar here, just get an idea of what it sounds like already as it is. So, as you can see, it faded in and out before. So, the last thing though that we're going to want to add to this file here though is basically just transitions between the various scenes, because as you can kind of see here, just the sudden change can kind of be distracting a little bit, so we're going to want to just spice that up. So what you're going to want to do is to select transitions, and then from here you can choose any kind of file that you want to do a transition for. In this instance, we're going to want the dissolve transition here. And in order to install a successful transition, you're going to want to click right before the area that you want it to be. In this instance, we're going to want to put it right here. Go up to the transition you want and hit add to project. This then adds it to the project successfully the way we want it. And then we're going to want to just continue to do that throughout the entire thing up until about here, just in between pictures 5 and 6. Alright. Then essentially what you have here is essentially a finished product. We'll just go to the beginning, just watch it through one time just to make sure we have everything set properly. When you're satisfied with the video that you have here, the final step then that you will want to do is to basically finalize and then export your video. Now to do this, you're going to want to follow these steps. You are first going to want to go up into export here. And once you click on that, then just hit create a video. This will then bring you to this screen. And this is where you can basically just do all the different settings that you want. You can change the resolution, which will in turn change the size of the video, so just be cautious of that. You can change the location where the video is going to be, and you can rename it. In this instance, we're just going to name it Funny Cat Photos. Then once that's done, you can just select the format that you want. Most programs prefer MP4 format, so it's best to just keep it on that. And then just hit export. Then from here, it'll basically just take a certain amount of time depending on how long your video is. And a 33-second video like this one will only take a few seconds, while videos up to an hour long can maybe take an hour or more, depending on how fast your computer is. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is basically how you run Wondershare Filmora, and I certainly hope that you guys enjoyed it. Oh, and of course, here's the final video as well. You take care.